Hello to all you guys out there in YouTube land. This is me, DR, and there's my doggy. So, what's the purpose of this video? Well, this is day 3 of make a video every day. Technically, I think really it's day 3.5. I kind of missed one, didn't I? So, that went well, but this is good. I've just got in from a quick 10-mile run. It's a quick 10-mile run. It wasn't very quick. I think I did it in about hour 40, hour 47, which is good. It was fun, apart from the last 2 miles. That was a bit of a killer. Even though I dialed down my pace, I just felt it because it's if you look up there, it's totally blue skies. It's absolutely lush day. It's about 5 minutes past 10 on Sunday, the 12th of May. So fingers crossed I can get this uploaded almost straight away. There's my dog. You can see him there. Yeah, he's cameoing. Look at him. He loves sunbathing. His name's Morty, named after the infamous Morty from Rick and Morty. You gotta love him. Gotta love him. So yeah, today it's the morning. I said I've already been out for a 10-miler. For anyone who isn't aware, I kind of got into running. I started running in August of last year, just by doing things like doing my local park run. So that was, I think the good thing with the park run, because I tried things like, and I've said this before, but I've tried things like Couch to 5K apps. I've tried, all that type of stuff, and it didn't really work for me. I think a Couch to 5K app, I think you're kind of comparing yourself to someone else unconsciously. So let me give you some context behind this. So I would do the week or do the weekly plan. So if you're not sure what a Couch to 5K plan is, just because people might not know, it's normally a 10-week or 12-week program, which basically is built to take someone from sitting on the couch, a minimal exercise, all the way up to running a 5K. And it does this by having blocks of running and walking segmented in that program. So for example, a week 1 program might be you go out for a 5-minute brisk walk, you then run for a minute, you then walk for 2. So it gives you a chance to recover. And it works by slowly, I say slowly because most are actually fairly rapid changes in terms of week 5 to 6, but it should be slowly decreasing the amount of walking you do and increasing the amount of running. And most of them are built around 30 minutes of activity in general. That's what you see most of the apps. They have you out for about 30 minutes, sometimes 35. Now, one of the things that was really challenging about that is when I was in an area where it was predominantly flat, that was kind of achievable. So once you get fitter, you could conceivably do a 35-minute 5-kilometer run. Whereas where I am at the moment is quite hilly. So when I first started doing these Couch to 5K apps, I got fairly deep into the program, but I never reached the mileage. I never reached 5 kilometers. And that was really disheartening. So I stopped. So what really helped me was the park run. So if you don't know what a park run is, and they are everywhere now, they're a brilliant initiative, but park runs are essentially a 5-kilometer race. I say race, it's a 5-kilometer run. It's not a race. 5-kilometer run, walk or jog, which is run every Saturday by volunteers. And the kind of real good component in the 5K element or in the park run element is it's timed. So it's timed, and it's not an exact science. It's basically timed based on the fact that everyone starts starts the park run at the same time. I'm going to have to correct myself. It's not a race. Starts the park run at the same time. Stopwatches start, and therefore, when you finish, everyone finishes. We know when the run started, and therefore you finished the 5K. We know when you finished because there's stopwatches at the finish line. So that's how the timing element works. So it's brilliant because one of the good things with it is that you always knew you were going to be running, walking, jogging, whatever, 5 kilometers. So that really helped. And the time component helped show your improvement. So, you ran the first one. I think my first park run I did was 42 minutes, something like that. Fairly slow, and I know a lot of people out there faster, and I freely admit I walked a lot of it. I kind of jogged it. But what it enables you to do is next week when you went back is you could beat that time, you could progress, and that is a fantastic element in it. Now, not everybody does park runs. One of the things about park run is you don't have to get faster. It's not a race. I keep referring to it as a race because when it first started in Bushy Park, it was a time trial. But parkrun fundamentally isn't a race. It's just about getting out and being active. So you don't have to get quicker. But if you do want to, then you can. The option is there. And obviously that timing element helps you evidence your progress. So you can kind of say, oh, look, I'm doing really well because, the first one I did in 42 minutes, the next one I've done in 40 minutes, the next one I've done in 38 minutes, etc., etc. So you can kind of see that progress over time. And that is fantastic. So I love that. So park run really got me into running because it was regular. It was a Saturday. I knew it was going to happen. Also, it's a real safe environment because every park run I've been to, all the volunteers are fantastic. Now, I'm going to be biased to say my local park run is the best park run there, but I know that's purely subjective, and everyone is going to say exactly the same thing about their local park run, and that's fine. So I know I'm being fairly cheeky when I say that, but all the park runs are brilliant, and they're really warm and friendly environments. I think for myself, I don't mind going out now on a run in the morning, but if I was, say, more vulnerable, I might feel like, oh my God, because you're going out for a 30-minute run and you might feel a bit self-conscious or afraid, etc., etc. So the park run, the fact there's volunteers, most park runs, I said, well, all park runs actually, I've not been to a park run that hasn't got full coverage of their routes by all the marshals. And I said the marshals are volunteers, but they're there and they look after and they're supported and they cheer. Every run director I've met is organised, passionate, and cares about athletes. They're runners, they're park runners, so they're really safe environments as well. There are also a thing called junior park runs that tend to happen on a Sunday. They tend to be shorter runs. I think it's 2 kilometres, and they're primarily for kids. But we do actually get a lot of over 11s at our park run. So people, kids and teenagers who are getting into running and are running 5 kilometers quite comfortably. And that's really inspiring to see. So parkrun got me into running. It really, I think if you're interested in it, just Google, I think www.parkrun.co.uk, I'm guessing, or .org.uk, one of those. But if you Google parkrun, you'll see it. It's there. It's really, I think they've now got to Japan. So they're amazing amount of park runs. There's phenomenal amount of park runs around the country. I don't think you could potentially go 20 miles without finding a park run of some form, shape, or description. So there's definitely a park run near you if you're in the UK. I know park runs in America as well. Park runs also in Japan, parks in Germany. I think park runs in Canada. So park runs everywhere, almost everywhere. I think in some places like Iceland, maybe it's not. I don't think it kind of took off there yet, but there's only a matter of time. So that really, park run got me into running. And I'm not saying I'm the best runner at all. I'm not. There's some people who are phenomenal. So I think I mentioned this in the last video. On Friday, I did, it's called the Lady Windsor Runs. And it's basically 2.6 miles downhill. And then I just checked a mile uphill, covering the distance that you went downhill with 2 kind of mini uphills bolted on. So it ends up being a 5-mile run approximately. And it's tough. And I was not in the top. I think I was, I don't know, something like 98 out of 100 and something, well, I know I had 158, so there must have been 158, 160 runners. So I'm not, I'm not the best runner by any stretch of the imagination, but I just enjoy it. So today was quite nice. Went out in the morning when it was a bit cooler. Got some miles in in under my belt, 10 miles. I think my biggest challenge at the moment with running is I'm not really running for anything. I'm not running for any particular reason apart from I've got a 10k coming up on the 7th of July in Porthcawl. So it's more, right, Mort? It's more, I'm just kind of running for the fun of it and not really running for a particular race. And that's kind of challenging actually, because today I reached the 8 mile mark and I was a bit like, oh, I had that twinge of oh, should I? But I kind of carried on, which was good. But I think I need to kind of put together a plan. I put together my own plan for Porthcawl, just so that I don't lose momentum. But I'm really enjoying it. So the first 8 miles was lush. That was really good. Really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. But the last 2 miles, oh god, they felt a bit. It was a bit. I had to dig deep a little bit, even though I wasn't really pushing it. So with running, I'm talking about a lot of running concepts, and I've been thinking about a lot of running concepts. One of the key ones for me at the moment is based on a book called 80/20 Running. You can pick it up in Amazon or your nearest bookstore, but it talks about really your split of what they call hard running to easy running, to just taking your time, and the split that you kind of want to look for. And obviously I caveat this by saying everyone's different and you do what makes you happy. If you enjoy going out and busting your gut every run, I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but they just said looking at kind of, and there's lots of talks about this. If you Google and even YouTube, running coaches like Jack Daniels. Interestingly, yes, he's not named after the spirit, but there is a brilliant running coach called Jack Daniels who talks a lot about this type of running split with a bit more science behind it. But yeah, 80/20 running is kind of the concept that I look at. So 80% of my runs are nice, easy, relaxed runs, and then 20% are effort runs. Today was really in that 80% category, just nice, easy, steady pace. And I used to use pace as a guide for how easy the run was. Now I use heart rate, mainly because pace is an interesting one. If you're going uphill and you use pace, obviously going uphill at a pace is more effort than going downhill at that pace. So if you use pace, it's kind of almost a rough guesstimate. I mean, heart rate is also a rough guesstimate because you have to base it on what your maximum heart rate would be, and that's not a kind of defined. It's quite difficult without the help of a whole kind of slew of sports technicians and scientists who will help you find that. It's commonly referred to as like VO2 max. I'm talking about a lot of concepts that people will be like, Google it. I might, if you want me to, I might do videos on my understanding of these things. But I tend to use heart rate. I tend to stay within a heart rate zone. So I tend to stay within about 50 to 60% of what my maximum heart rate potentially would be. As I said, it's not an exact science. So that's kind of my gradings on that. So today was really about that 80% easy running, but the last 2 miles felt difficult. I had a few tired legs as well. I don't think I had a rest day yesterday where I didn't run, but I think I potentially needed a bit more of a rest day, so I'm not doing anything strenuous today. I know I've got to jump in the old shower and get ready for the missus's mum's birthday, so they're going out for a bit this morning, and then I'll meet them afterwards and we'll chill out and we'll enjoy the rest of the day. It's a lovely day today, absolutely lovely, and I've rambled on for about 15 minutes. Crazy. I need to get back into scripting some of this stuff so it's a bit more coherent and a bit more structured. Anyway, guys, go out there. If you want to hear me talk more about running, if you've got any comments, any questions you want to ask, please feel free. Put them in the doobly-doo, the comment box, and I'll pick them up on my next video. This is DR saying thank you for watching. peace out and have a safe journey wherever you're headed.